Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rogers Kakasungura YouTube channel. A big thank you for the support you're granting this platform, and I really thank you to those of you who share our content every day. If you're watching this, I beseech you, kindly make sure you click the subscribe button and remember to turn on the notification bell. The only way you can support Kakasungura is by subscribing. By the end of this year, let us clock 500,000 subscribers. And I know that is a reality, and it's possible if we unite and build this platform. My work in this platform is to put government in check, the government of the Republic of Kenya, that is Kenya Kwanza. I have said this severally, that in the entire season, the Kenya Kwanza government is going to be in power. My work is to be in the opposition. Today, I want to take you back to the 10th of November 2022. That is a few months after William Ruto had taken power. Kenyans, some people thought that, when Uhuru was the president, some individuals never sat down to try and understand how presidency works. There is no single day they took their time to sit in office and ask how things are done in government. We all remember their prime responsibility was to shout from on top of vehicles every day, morning to evening. Paka wakaitwa tanga-tanga. I hope you remember that nickname. Wakaitwa wao ni tanga-tanga. Kila siku wanatanga-tanga. Every day wako kwa magari wanapiga kelele. Hakuna siku hawa wangwana waliketi chini kwa ofisi ya kiserikali wajaribu kuelewa vile ambavyo serikali inafanya mambo. So luckily enough, they took power. And few months after taking power, I vividly remember, the interview is still fresh in my mind. William Ruto attended the MSMEs Roundtable Forum at St. Andrews PCEA. It was the morning of 10th November 2022. And I remember William Ruto saying that Kenya is going to manufacture the cheapest smartphones in Africa. He said he has had discussions with telecommunication sectors, and they have agreed that in the next 8 to 12 months, Kenya was to manufacture the cheapest smartphones that were to cost less than 5,000 Kenyan shillings. Now, if you think I'm lying, can we listen to?
We must leverage on technology to be able to be efficient and effective. And that is why, if you see our manifesto, we talked largely about SMEs, because we know that's where the jewel is. And secondly, we talked about affordable finance. And thirdly, we talked about a superhighway, because technology, listening to Magdalene, I am very confident that employment is going to be ready and available if we can ensure that we spread technology, we have financing, and that is why we talked about the superhighway. The superhighway is supposed to do two things: to make sure that the country is connected. And I'm happy again to announce here that the real last mile in technology is the gadget. And already we are working with our telcos, our telecommunication sector, so that we can have a smartphone that is going to be less than 5,000 shillings. A smartphone that can do everything that you want. A smartphone that can make sure, today the cheapest smartphone is 10,000, maybe 15,000. We want to see whether we can get it to $30 or $40. And I want to promise the country that in the next 8 to 12 months, we will have the cheapest smartphone in Africa, manufactured in Kenya.
That was November 2022. So we expected the cheapest smartphones by November 2023. I think that is 12 months. Yeah, that is 12 months. If you calculate the November of 2022 to the November of 2023, that is the period William Ruto promised the country that Kenya was to have the cheapest smartphones. For those of us who listen to this, some celebrated and said, okay, this is a milestone in Kenya, because a country that is digitally growing should also have facilities like cheap cameras, cheap smartphones, cheap internet, etc. As we speak in Kenya, and there was a survey that was released months ago, and Kenya, in fact, they said is going to top worldwide, having people spending time on social media. So we are having more content creators coming up. But how is the government going to support these content creators? William Ruto said the solution is to manufacture the cheapest smartphones assembled in Kenya, manufactured in Kenya, that will cost less than 5,000 Kenyan shillings. Let me ask you, ladies and gentlemen. Since that time, we were promised 8 to 12 months. By 2023 November, that is 1 year. By 2024 November, those are 2 years. And by 2025 November, those are 3 years. So 3 years later, we have never seen the cheapest smartphones. 3 years later, nobody has ever took time to remind us on the progress of the cheapest smartphones. Not even the government spokesperson has ever taken the initiative to update Kenyans on the progress of the cheapest smartphones that were promised by Kenya Kwanza government as a manifesto. Nobody has ever done that. Then, ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the reasons I believe that William Ruto must resign, because he has failed Kenyans. We were promised electric cars. I remember wakati William Ruto akiwa Naivasha, anauliza watu wa Naivasha, nyinyi mumewahi ona gari nakimbia kama risasi? I think you remember that video clip. It trended on TikTok. Since that time, we haven't seen much being done. The same president promised bodabodas electric motorbikes. Each and every bodaboda was promised an electric motorbike. Wewe mahali huko, wherever you are, how many electric motorbikes do you see around? In fact, none. So, these are the reasons I and others believe that William Ruto has completely failed as the president. And in that, he should honorably resign even before 2027. The manifesto, I've severally said, we need also to do investigation and find out if indeed someone stole William Ruto's handbook, ile manifesto yenye wali launch. We need to find out if indeed there is someone somewhere who disappeared with that manifesto, because things are becoming worse, and the more we keep quiet, the more our country keeps sinking. The cheapest smartphone, according to him, was a clearly outlined manifesto, meaning it was in the government program. So along the way, 3 years later, who altered the program? Is it the president or the people around him? We need to be told who sabotaged the president. William Ruto should come out clearly in public. Anyone who can reach him, please send him this video clip. We need him to come clear and explain to the people of the Republic of Kenya, and especially the Gen Zs, where our cheap smartphones are that were to cost less than 5,000 Kenyan shillings. Now, if we do this, our young people will get employment. So, up to this, I hope I have been able to convince you why I believe Ruto must resign and go home even before 2027. God bless you. So in the next episode, asanteni sana.